Well, number one, I always tell people to serve God, to promote the things for people, our agriculture, our economy, to make sure Louisiana's children are taken care of, and just to make sure that we have leadership that's effective and that cares about the people.
What's kind of your purpose or your things that you're going to change if you are elected
Well,
into?
yeah, we're going to continue with some of the things we've been doing. Of course, stabilizing the economy, making sure our budget deficit, we don't go into another $3 billion budget deficit. A lot of people don't realize it, but when the legislature fixed the budget deficit, it was a temporary fix. So we'll be going into this term in the first session trying to, again, fill probably about a $2 billion deficit that's going to be created when all of the bills roll off. So that's one thing that's going to be very important to better education. We've made strides in education, but it's time now to come out of where we are. We've stabilized that budget, which was a large portion that the teachers have had their first pay raise. And although to me it was not sufficient, even the governor said that it was a start and it was a commitment. And as soon as we came out of deficit, that's the first thing we did. But we need to get our teachers up to at least the southern regional average, and so that's going to be a goal. We started at it last year. We're going to continue with that, and our support workers. And of course, this is the first time we had increased the MFP in 11 years. That's the minimum foundation program that funds education, K through 12. Our colleges and universities have been cut by 60% over the last 7-8 years of the deficit. People think because we said there were no cuts this year that we made them whole. We just made them steady. But we have not replaced that 60% of cuts to make sure TOPS is stabilized. And so the budget is going to be a big part of that, because what you're seeing right now is a spillover of the budget into other areas where we're not as effective as a state as we need to be. But I want to commend the legislators who've served with me in the House for the last 8 years and in the Senate, because at least we came to a point where we stabilized the budget. Now we have to get it back up to what the children deserve, what the teachers deserve, what everyone deserves, and that's going to be real important. Health and hospitals. Our public-private hospitals were cut significantly, and also our private hospitals, based on their Medicaid reimbursement, our physicians. And so there's a lot of things that are spilling over with the budget when you look at access to health care. But making sure we don't do it on the backs of the citizens, making sure that Louisiana remains prudent about how they spend money, and make people realize that our children are important, and that if we're not going to invest in them, then we're going to see high crime rates and things of that nature. So to turn that around too, and it all goes hand in hand. If you can really stabilize education in the state of Louisiana, I truly believe that what we've been seeing over the last few years of crimes of violence will decrease. We did criminal justice reform, and the rehabilitation reentry programs have been very effective. So we want to go in and strengthen those, because we've seen them be effective. We've seen a reduction of recidivism rate, which means we've seen people come out of prison and not go back in, not commit more crimes. And the reentry program really focuses on job training prior to them being released, and it has really helped when people come out being able to take care of themselves and get jobs. And so we're going to strengthen that as well. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's what we've worked on for 8 years, and we're not going to stop. And of course, and always, number one priority, not number one, but one of the major priorities is to protect babies, to protect the life of the unborn. We're going to continue with that. We believe it's a calling of God. We believe that everything we do and we did for District 16 was based on our prayers, our support, and all the people you see here today that hold us up. We just sent the bus back today to go back to work, but I want to thank them too. So what you've seen from us is us to serve the district, serve the people, serve the state, and we're going to continue to do that.
Awesome. You had a big crowd here today. How does it feel being able to run and campaign and know that you have the support behind you, they have your back and everything?
I'll tell any candidate, your support comes when you really honor God. We always kick off our campaign with a prayer breakfast the first morning at 7 a.m. before we come here. So what you see is constituents and supporters who come to the prayer breakfast and then leave there and come here. If you put God first, He will give you people for your life, and that's what you're seeing today.